Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Today is the 10th of February of our Lord 2025. Welcome to yet another edition of the Coping Hour. I'm sitting here, my girlfriend's giving me a bunch of shit about I'm going through the fucking stages of grief right now. I'm not. I don't know what. It was pissing me off. So, you're going through it right now. I'm listening to you right now. Talk about I'm listening to you talk about, I'm not mad that the Eagles won a Super Bowl, and then 5 minutes later, I'm fucking throwing shit around, being like, goddamn, Nick Sirianni won a fucking Super Bowl. I'm not mad, though. And I can already tell, 30 seconds into this episode, this sounds like a guy who's mad. Over the course of the next 30 minutes, you're going to hear that I'm not mad. I'm not being funny. I'm not mad. The Eagles won a Super Bowl. Not only did they win a Super Bowl and completely derail a dynasty in the making by the Kansas City Chiefs, denying them a three-peat, now we won't even know. It's so funny to me that you watched in real time a league in the NFL, or I don't know who had to talk to Pat Riley. Who had to talk to him? Was it the NFL or was it the Kansas City Chiefs? It's probably NFL, and then whoever was manufacturing the championship merchandise. Pat Riley. Oh, we see that you have a trademark of a bunch of different, like just the word three-peat and a bunch of adjacent shit. And so we have to get the green light from you in order to make this merch. By the way, we're never going to get to see what that merch actually looked like because the Philadelphia Eagles just kicked the shit out of the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 59 down in New Orleans. I couldn't be happier, honestly, for a guy like Jalen Hurts, for somebody that for years I have tried to, not really on this show, more privately, behind the scenes, been like, record scratch freeze frame. You're probably wondering how I got here. Let me rewind the clock here. You go back to Alabama. This is the piece of it that we've talked about a little bit on this show. I remember his first game at Alabama. They played against USC in Jerry World, and they kicked the shit out of USC, and it was the way that Jalen's helmet fit on his head with his hair sticking out of the back of his helmet. I said, that's my fucking quarterback. I don't care what happens the rest of his career, whether he even makes it to the NFL. At that point, was he a freshman? We had no idea. I was like, I don't care what happens to him. Jalen Hurts is my guy. And so for 2 years, I stood by his side, and I was like, you're literally the best quarterback I've ever seen in my life, all hyperbole aside. And rest assured, there is a lot of hyperbole in there. I watched him get benched in the national championship game against Georgia. I watched that happen because Lane Kiffin got fired and Brian Daboll was like, what if, and hold on and stay with me, what if I ruined Jalen Hurts? I watched that happen with my own two eyes. I'm never going to fucking forget that. I will never forget. People love to talk about the New York Giants and, how could they let Saquon Barkley go? How the fuck could they hire Brian Daboll? He's Hitler. As far as I'm concerned, fuck that guy. He ruined Jalen Hurts at Alabama. He benched him for a guy who, as of today, the 10th of February, 2025, benched Jalen Hurts for a guy who has fucking applesauce brains. Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl MVP. He won a Super Bowl and he's the MVP of the Super Bowl. He was lights out against the Kansas City Chiefs. 2 years removed from losing against them. I had the damn confetti as my lock screen for the last 2 years. That's the corniest shit in the world. But I'm happy that you finally got over that mountain, to be completely honest with you. So, happy to be right about that one, but God fucking damn it. The Chiefs lost. The Chiefs lost in spectacular fashion and arguably hilarious fashion. This game was never close. I don't know, the over cashed at the end. If you listened to the previous episode of the Coping Hour, we did some very brief Super Bowl, hey, watch out for this thing. And one of the things that I pointed out was the number of beers that I drink during the Super Bowl. The over-under was at 6.5, the over cashed. And I'm taping this immediately after Jalen Hurts is up at the little podium that they have after the game, and Terry Bradshaw was talking to him. The game literally just fucking ended. All right? I took notes for this game like an asshole. I'm doing, for the first time in the history of the Coping Hour, I'm taking like diligent notes throughout the game. I'm putting down, all right, there's 13 minutes and 2 seconds left in this quarter, and this thing just happened. So that way I can accurately recreate the moment for you at home the day that you're listening to this and what was going through my brain. Because here at the Coping Hour, we like to cover all the biggest stories. We like to cover them from all angles. I can only do that if I chronicle shit in real time with what I'm thinking while it's happening. What an asshole I am. What was even the point of doing that? This wasn't even fun to watch. Unless you were an Eagles fan. I'm just thinking of the people who, and this is not the person that I should be thinking about right now. But I'm thinking of the person who spent $8 million on a Super Bowl ad. And imagine you were like late to it. You're the last puppy to the bowl. And you find out that your time slot for a Super Bowl commercial is going to be somewhere between the end of the third quarter and the end of the fourth quarter. Which, by the way, at that point, everybody's turned off the fucking game. Nobody's even watching. This wasn't close. This was never close. You know how I know that? Because I took notes. Until I didn't. 4th and 2 to begin the game. We get an offensive pass interference on A.J. Brown. A little bit of a hands to the face is what it looked like. It wasn't. It was a horseshit call. It got reversed. Eagles ended up punting the football. Very next drive, 7:20 left in the first quarter. Eagles get one back over the Chiefs. Trent McDuffie on Dallas Goedert. They called I think they called it an unnecessary roughness because they said that Trent McDuffie went to the head. It was a ball that was thrown high by Jalen Hurts to Dallas Goedert. It wasn't a penalty. Like, it was not a fucking flag. And 3 plays later, Jalen Hurts does the brotherly shove into the end zone, which was set up by a 20-some-odd yard reception from Jahan Dotson, which was originally ruled a touchdown, got called back down at like the 1 or 2 yard line. Again, brotherly shove into the end zone 3 plays later from Jalen Hurts. Whoops. And then 8:42 left in the second quarter. The Eagles get a false start call on a field goal attempt that was suspect as fuck because it wasn't. The Chiefs just jumped. It should have been a first down for the Eagles, but whatever. Eagles go up 10-0. And then with 7:03 left in the second, Cooper DeJean gets a pick six following back-to-back sacks of Patrick Mahomes. 17-0 Eagles. Ball game. Chiefs dead in the water. Was there a moment in this game that you found more easily identifiable as like a holy shit, they're fucking dead than when Cooper DeJean picked the ball off and ran it back for 6 points? I'm just asking questions here. Was that the moment also for you at home that you were like, holy shit, this is over? Because people tried to like lie to themselves. They even talked about it in the booth. Oh, I don't know. If 28-3 can happen when the Patriots came back over the Falcons, if 28-3 can happen, then anything can happen. Except it fucking can't. And it wasn't going to. And then also, by the way, I haven't mentioned this yet. It didn't. That did not happen. Tom Brady up in the booth. Hey, I don't know. The worst thing. This is the last note I took from this game, by the way. Skipping everything else. With 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in the third quarter, the Eagles go up 34-0. Devontae Smith, touchdown. Bomb. Tom Brady goes, that might be the dagger. It might be the dagger. The Eagles are up 34-0 with, what does my note say? 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in the third quarter. That might be the dagger. Shut the fuck up, Tom. Shut the fuck up. Oh, I don't know if I could come. Shut up. What else did I write in here? I might as well just empty these out since I'm not going to be talking about the fucking NFL for, I don't know, 6 more goddamn months. 5 minutes, 20 seconds left in the third quarter. Mahomes got sacked for the 5th time in the game, which was at that point the most he had ever been sacked in his career. We're not talking just the postseason, in his entire goddamn motherfucking career. On 0 blitzes. The Eagles didn't blitz 1 time. They were rushing 3, they were rushing 4, and they would just get to him. And I was clocking this. I said to Maddie, I'm jumping up and down like a motherfucking, I'm the goddamn Wile E. Coyote. Why the fuck is he stepping up into the pocket as much as he is? That's not what he does. And she's like, I don't know. He always just kind of steps up and slips into these little holes and boom, 17-yard rush from Patrick Mahomes. I'm like, that's hardly what happens. I'm like, he always bounces it out and on some like Madden on fucking rookie difficulty shit, just kind of waltzes down the field. I'm like, that's what happens. 5 sacks at that point in the game. I think it ended up being like goddamn 6 or 7. Fuck. Jalen Hurts ended up having the most rushing yards in Super Bowl history by a quarterback. Super Bowl MVP, by the way. Have I mentioned that yet? All of this is just leading me to want to ask one question. I just have one question for everybody out there. All right? Will you just... I am not a pot stirrer. That is not what I like to do on this program. I just have a very earnest question for the panel. Is it still rigged? Is it? Is the NFL still fixed? Is it in for... Did the refs have it in for the Chiefs, and no matter what happens, the Chiefs... Shut the fuck up! That's never been real! It's never been real. And I understand how you may be listening to this, and the last 12 or some odd minutes, you may be saying to yourself, this guy sounds mad. I'm not. I could not be anything further from mad, to be completely honest with you. And I think the reason that I'm not mad is because this Philadelphia Eagles team, a Super Bowl winning team, by the way, could not be more likable. Top to bottom. Jalen Hurts, why would you not like him? Why would you? Oh, you don't like the tush push? You don't like the brotherly shove? You're a fucking asshole. That's what my response to you would be. Stop it then. Oh, well, we can't because we can't do that in a scout team. Okay. Is that the Eagles' problem? Is it Jalen Hurts' problem that he squats 500 pounds and your defensive lineman can't do that? That's Jalen's problem? Oh, okay. It's not. Fucking asshole. Shut up. You don't like Saquon Barkley? What are you, a Giants fan? Oh, okay. Nobody doesn't like Saquon Barkley. AJ Brown, love the guy. Devontae Smith, love the guy. Cooper DeJean, by the way, pick 6 in the Super Bowl. Can we do that for a second? Can we do the Cooper DeJean thing? Look, in the NFL, for those of you who may be not that plugged into what happens in the NFL, Cooper DeJean getting drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles was a moment. We like to chronicle moments on this show. Cooper DeJean being drafted by the Eagles out of Iowa was a moment. Because white defensive backs, aka safeties, yeah, that's a thing. It happens every now and then. White corners getting drafted does not happen. And for that motherfucker to have a pick 6 in the Super Bowl on Patrick Mahomes with Donald Trump in attendance during, if we're going to go there, during Black History Month, DEI and affirmative action apparently out the window, and Cooper DeJean gets a pick 6 in a Super Bowl? Are you fucking kidding me? That's the funniest shit in the world. Especially because he just like fucking moonwalked into the end zone. Cooper DeJean, touchdown, pick 6 in the Super Bowl. Part of me wondered if he was going to be the MVP. It was going to be impossible. Because Jalen's numbers were just bizarre. I mean, you're Spags on the opposite sideline. And you spend the last 2 weeks being like, how do we contain Saquon Barkley? We, as the Kansas City Chiefs, have not allowed a 100-yard rusher in the postseason since 2019. Saquon Barkley is not going to get his. We are going to leave it up to the rest of the team to get theirs. And God motherfucking damn did they. Boy, did they. I don't think Saquon, I don't know what he ended up at. I think total yards, he was near 100. If he didn't surpass it, he was damn close to 100. He for sure didn't get 100 rushing yards. What was the longest rush of the night from Saquon Barkley? 10 yards? 9 yards, maybe? I don't even know what it was. It wasn't that many. I genuinely believe that they have a likable team. Can we do a trust tree right now? Can I tell you what I'm actually mad about? I've come off as very confrontational in the last 16 minutes. Can I tell you what I'm actually mad about? Nick Sirianni. That is the trust tree. All right? It's the one piece of this that I can't stomach. I fucking hate him. I'm bumping the table a lot. I apologize if that's picking up on the mic. I fucking hate Nick Sirianni. Because two things can be true. One, he's an asshole and he sucks and I fucking hate him. And two, he's perfect for Philadelphia. I don't think there's a better coach. Hold on. That's not what I meant. I don't think there is a coach that embodies their city outside of Dan Campbell in Detroit better than Nick Sirianni in Philadelphia. Remember when they were 2-2 this year and he was fighting with fans? Like, after a game, people were like, fuck you, you need to get killed. And he was like, no, fuck you, I'm going to go win a Super Bowl. And then he puts his dick on the table, and he doesn't just win a Super Bowl. He dethrones the two-time NFL champions, denying them of a three-peat, which would have been the first of its kind. But he kicked the shit out of them. This was never a game. Ever. Fuck! Okay, fine. I have to live with that? Whatever. Because, like, haha, bullshit aside, yes, Nick's doing a thing where he's been really, really angry and charged up for this whole episode. I'm somehow not as upset about the Chiefs losing as I thought I would have been. I'm more upset genuinely just as like a spectator that the game sucked and that it like wasn't close. Because Jalen throws that pick in was it the first quarter? And you're like, oh, I don't know. If Nance and Romo were on this call, we would have gotten an I don't know Jim. Oh, I don't know, Jim. What's going to happen? That literally didn't matter at all. It didn't matter at all that he threw that interception. You're like, oh yeah, I guess Jalen Hurts did throw an interception this game. Didn't fucking matter. Had nothing to do with anything that he threw an interception. I'm upset that Nick Sirianni is a champion. I'm upset that it wasn't the Lions because it should have been. I believe that it should have been. But just so you know that I'm being fair, I think that the Lions should have been playing in this game, but I don't think that they would have done what the Eagles just did. Because what the Eagles just did was shocking. And again, that's what I'm upset about, is that the game just sucked. And like, it wasn't that interesting to watch. We got to a point the Eagles were up, what? I don't know, 27, 30 to nothing, whatever it was, when it was still a shutout. And I texted a group chat that I'm in, and I said, at this point, just go for the fucking shutout. And the fact that the the Chiefs got like 3 scores, damn it. But you want to talk about stuff that I'm rooting for. At that point, fuck it. I'm rooting for the bettors. On DraftKings, the over-under closed at 55.5. Boop. Well, not just boop. Overcashed. A bullshit Xavier-worthy touchdown at the end of the game that had nothing to... It meant absolutely nothing. It's so funny watching plays like that unfold and being like, wow, millions of dollars were just won and lost. Just exchanged hands because of this meaningless play. That is hilarious to me, right? You think about the national anthem, how I believe the over cashed on that, over under 120 and a half seconds over cashed. At least that's what my clock said. I timed it. That's what I got. I got over 120 seconds. Millions of dollars exchanging hands before the game even starts. The Gatorade was yellow this season. Dumped on the winning coach. Millions of dollars exchanging hands. Imagine the guy. I don't even have to, we like to do a segment on the show where we're like, let's invent a guy really quick. We don't have to invent this guy. Somebody out there had a Jahan Dotson first-time touchdown scorer bet in this game. I can't even imagine what the odds are. Plus 1,500, if not greater than that. And how fucking mad that guy must have been that it didn't cash. What are some other notes that I have from this game? We did not get Tom Brady saying, "Oh, great call, KB." That never happened. He didn't say that one time. Because it was just never a game. There was never a moment where Kevin Burkhardt had to be like, blah, 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 blah. Tom Brady, "Oh, great call, KB." That never happened. Halftime show. Kendrick Lamar. You want to know something? I think maybe the zeitgeist. I'm not a huge fan of the public reaction to this whole thing, even if, for the most part, to be honest with you, I kind of agree with it. I think that there was an expectation bestowed upon Kendrick Lamar for this halftime show that I don't know if it was really fair at all. I don't know if people forgot that halftime shows usually aren't that interesting. Usually you watch a halftime show. If it's not the Super Bowl, I guess you don't watch it. Usually that's when you go to the bathroom, or especially if you're at the game, you go to the bathroom, you go to the concession stand, you do whatever. Most people aren't watching it, right? But when it's the Super Bowl, it's like you have to fucking watch it. Especially this year with the year that Kendrick had, the last 365 days, it was very much the year of Kendrick Lamar. And it was like, fine. I think most people were very whelmed for the first 10 minutes. And then when the thing happened that everyone in America, everybody in the world was waiting for, I do believe that it delivered then. Because for me, I felt like I was almost paying more attention to the choreography and like what the actual production of it was. When you include like a Samuel L. Jackson being Uncle Sam, which was incredible, right? You're almost paying more attention to that while he's just kind of like doing his shit and like playing his hits. What I thought was great was the way that he was teasing Not Like Us, because he knew that that's what everybody was waiting for. And the way that he kept teasing it, I thought was brilliant. And then he finally delivers on it. I think he stuck the landing. Because it wasn't just the little grin that he did, every now and then, the one that when he explicitly name dropped Drake. And it wasn't just Drake. He said Drake, he said Baca, he said Chubbs, he said Party. He said all those motherfuckers, right? The A minor line, when you hear the entire stadium delivering that, I thought the funniest part of that was there were a good handful of commercials leading up to that point that were like the pitch of the commercial was unity. There was even that point in the game where they were like playing fucking Country Roads. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, playing that shit. Let's have a moment of unity, folks. Let's all sing this song right now. The most unified that the country was during the duration of that game, was when Kendrick Lamar was talking about Drake being a pedophile. And the entire world said A minor at the exact same fucking time. That was the most unity that I think we would have shown during that entire game. So up until that happened, yeah, it's fine. It was a Super Bowl halftime show. It was very forgettable until the part that we were all waiting for happened. That's the part that I think most of us will remember forever, right? Also, I wasn't really on my phone for this game. I don't know, maybe by the time this releases, we'll know for sure. I have no idea, as I'm taping this, what the discourse on what I'm about to say is. Was SZA lip singing? That wasn't real, right? I don't think she was. Because it was when they started doing All the Stars, I was like, oh, maybe she's singing. Something about it seemed weird. I was like, I don't know if she's actually singing, which is bullshit if she wasn't. There was no Baby Keem. I was kind of hoping there was going to be some Baby Keem. There's nobody else. It was just Kendrick and SZA. Mentioned this already. The choreography was the piece of it that I was just enamored with. I thought it was brilliant. There was also, I saw Maddie showed me an IG reel. Somebody was waving around on the stage a Palestinian flag. They did not pick that up on the TV. I guess they turned the TV off for that part of it. Do you wonder if the reason that they didn't... I don't know if I'm getting too in the weeds here. There were a lot of hashtag Stop Jewish Hate commercials during this game. And then at halftime, somebody's waving around a Palestinian flag on the stage that Kendrick Lamar is performing. And they, like, purposely didn't get that in the frame. Is that, you know what I mean? Is there anything there? I don't know if there's anything there. I think I'm a little too... I don't think this is the right time for me to jump into that, dissect that. It was fine, the halftime show, except, again, what we were waiting for. Eagles win the Super Bowl. Okay. Happy for you guys. I'm not. I don't want to lie to you. I'm fucking not. Grease those light poles. Motherfuckers are probably, like, literally eating shit right now. Like, literally. Like, you know, you live in a major city and you see police officers ride around on horses and they just shit all over the place. Philly fans are going to get so fucked up they're just going to start eating the shit. Because that's just what they do. I don't know. They're going to light shit on fire. I don't know. Who cares? This shit's gay. I don't care. This fucking sport's stupid. But, and again, I say all of this as a guy who sounds like he's mad. I'm not fucking mad. This shit's just stupid, and I don't fucking care. The real meat and potatoes of today was the goddamn Puppy Bowl, if we're being honest with you. If we're being honest with you, I'm the only one fucking sitting here. I sat through an hour and a half of the Puppy Bowl today, and I couldn't stop thinking about one thing. How do we do something different with this? And I don't mean something different like, how do we change this? What's the spin-off of the Puppy Bowl? Now, for those of you out there who don't give a shit about American football, I would be shocked if at this point you're still listening to this segment. But the Puppy Bowl is literally just, we put a bunch of dogs who need a home on the Animal Planet, the network, and we make them play football. That's it. And then while you're watching the game, some of the dogs have already been adopted previously, but you can go onto a website. They'll provide links and QR codes and shit. Adopt this dog. Or maybe it's the kitty halftime show. Adopt these cats. Or what the fuck ever, right? And I'm like, how do we expand this? Let's do a spin-off. Okay, so the Penguins Stanley Cup? I don't know. You can't adopt a penguin, but I'm just like, let's put a bunch of penguins on a sheet of ice and make them play hockey or something? I don't know. Something like that, maybe. Basketball? What animals do you make play basketball? Golden retrievers? I don't know. Fucking a bunch of Airbuds running around? Probably not. Because in the past, they tried to make an Airbud movie where he was playing tennis, but the fucking dog just kept getting distracted by the tennis balls and they couldn't record the goddamn movie. What else do you do? Baseball? What the hell's going to play baseball? A monkey? Because it has the extremities? Why wouldn't they just play fucking basketball? Make them throw some shot put or something. This idea is stupid. I don't even know why I'm fucking talking about it. Spent an hour and a half watching the Puppy Bowl. And I don't really regret it, but my question is this. Look, motherfuckers get so up in arms about, like, trans women playing men's sports and trans men playing women's sports. Why the fuck are the dogs allowed to be cheerleaders in this game? That shit used to be reserved for literal guinea pigs and hamsters. Why the fuck are the dogs allowed to... The dogs are already playing in the game. Why do they get to be the cheerleaders now, too? This was Puppy Bowl 21. I've been watching the Puppy Bowl since number 8. And I remember what it used to be. I remember when it was guinea pigs as motherfucking cheerleaders. I remember when they would put hamsters in a blimp. The kitty halftime show, unscathed, by the way... They used to have parrots involved in this shit. What, guinea pigs and fucking hamsters and parrots don't need homes anymore? Fuck you. Why are the dogs allowed to be cheerleaders? This is the stupidest shit in the world. They just get to control the whole game, the whole thing. I understand that it's called the Puppy Bowl, but it's about making sure that unhoused animals are able to find families that are able to take care of them. Dogs are the only animals in the fucking world that need houses? Fuck you. But I still watched most of it. I still watched that goddamn Puerto Rican dog Enrique be a little piece of shit, getting a bunch of flags, taking a shit on the field, playing around in the water bowl. That's a flag. Unnecessary bathing, piece of shit. And we were sitting here rooting for him. He's a Puerto Rican dog. Of course we're going to root for him. We love Puerto Rico. And you don't see that many, by the way. You don't see golden retrievers and fucking corgis in this game. You know why? Because all the golden retrievers and all the corgis are taken. You know how hard it would be to find a home for a puppy golden retriever or a corgi? Not hard at all. It's not hard at all. It's a very sought-after breed. Instead, you just see all these damn Chihuahua mixes and Shih Tzu mixes, Beagle mixes, and Terrier mixes, Pitbull mixes. Oh my God, the amount of fucking Pitbulls in this game. Growing on trees. Beagles. I hate beagles. It's the only dog. I don't mean that. And I don't mean that. But they're assholes. What was that book? What was that book about a beagle? Years and years and years and years ago. Some of you would have read this book in maybe elementary school, maybe middle school. Was it called Sadie? What was that book about the beagle? The beagle was a piece of shit. I don't remember what it was. But I read it. And I remember one time I had a neighbor who got a beagle, and they named their dog after the dog of the book. That was the adaptation of the book. Was it Sadie? What was that dog's problem? I don't remember. Was that one of those books that was like Catcher in the Rye? Somebody read this book about a dog, and they're like, I have to kill a celebrity. I have to kill John Lennon. I don't remember. What else did we get from the Super Bowl? Commercials? Yeah, the commercials were fine. I actually did also take some notes about the commercials from this game. What the fuck happened at the beginning of the game with Brad Pitt doing like a 3.5 minute like Unity promo? It was so unfocused and all over the goddamn place. First of all, what the hell happened to Brad Pitt? You will never, ever, 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 ever hear me being like, Brad Pitt looks horrible. I think he's one of the sexiest people who has ever existed ever. I think he's one of the best actors who has ever existed ever. I am very acutely aware of the allegations in his divorce settlement. Optically not great. Sounds like he caused some trauma for not just Angelina Jolie, but his kids, which is something that I have since in the last year become like, all right, that is a whole different thing. And as soon as kids are involved, I'm like, all right, you're kind of an asshole. But it is Brad Pitt, right? All right, so what the fuck happened to him? He looks horrible. And he spends 3.5 minutes being like, this is the Super Bowl, and we need to huddle up because the Orville twins huddled up when they made the plane, and MLK huddled up when he had a dream, and the United States huddled up during the space race when they put people on the moon, and then also we huddled up during the fires in California. Oh, by the way, and also we huddled up when there was a terrorist attack in New Orleans. Oh, and before you go, we also huddled up during a hurricane earlier this year, Hurricane Helene in Florida and on the lower eastern seaboard. What the fuck are you talking about? And at the end of it, he's like, and welcome to the Super Bowl. What the fuck did I just watch, Brad Pitt? What was this? It's a weird start to the game. He says, welcome to the Super Bowl. We had an insane ad for Coca-Cola. I don't remember if it was, I believe it was pregame. Motherfuckers walk into a store and they're like, hey, AI is going to steal our jobs. And they go up to the counter and they ask the person, they're putting a Coke on the counter. I'd like 1 Coke, please. And they say to the person working the register, hey, Jack, don't you think that AI is going to steal all our jobs one day? And the person working the counter turns around and looks at a picture behind them. And the picture is of the person who founded this little convenience store. And then we go flashback style to that person who founded the convenience store some odd years ago, standing behind the counter when some kids walk in trying to buy a Coca-Cola. They put it on the counter and they go, hey, Jack, don't you think someday computers are going to steal all of our jobs? One day you're going to be a computer and we're going to have touchscreens and shit like that. And the guy just goes, I think we're going to be okay. And then we fast forward style back to current days where the person looks back from the old picture back to the current day people who are trying to buy a Coke talking about fucking AI. And they go, I think we're going to be okay. And then it goes Coca-Cola, like go buy a Coca-Cola. What the fuck did I just watch? What the shit was this? Because then you spend the next 4 hours trying to pump some AI commercials into me. That's all this shit was. 20 minutes after we saw that commercial, Martha Stewart's doing a fucking commercial for Skechers where she puts her shoes on and then she starts cartwheeling around like a fucking asshole. It was clearly AI. The whole thing was AI. It was Martha Stewart cartwheeling around like a fucking asshole in AI. It was they did it as AI. But I think we're going to be okay. Okay. We had a weird moment pregame where a clearly pre-taped, Tom Brady and Michael Strahan and the whole Fox broadcast crew is like walking around Bourbon Street, the French Quarter in New Orleans, being like, terrorism is fucked up. Terrorism is wrong. And it happened here on January 1st this year. That was fucked up and it shouldn't happen. And then they all just like walk over to Lady Gaga and she starts singing a fucking song. And that's it. And also Roger Goodell is there and he doesn't say anything, but he is standing in unity with all of the people who are like, terrorism is fucked up. What is happening right now? What else did we have? Jeremy Strong had a Super Bowl commercial with Dunkin' Donuts. Felt very like if you know coded, but I, as somebody who would fall in a grenade for Jeremy Strong, really appreciated the fact that he got a nod here. Also that he was a good sport and actually participated in the bit. I thought it was brilliant. We also saw later in the broadcast, like fourth quarter, Kieran Culkin was like voicing a whale. And so I was like, God damn, Jeremy Strong and Kieran Culkin getting to do Super Bowl commercials. The Roy family is fucking eating. I guess it's good that Shiv was like, oh, I don't need to make Kendall the CEO because fucking him and Roman are going to be in Super Bowl commercials one day. The Roy family doing well. Sean Evans and Charlie XCX got to be in the same commercial. My fucking head exploded. Talk about worlds collide. Sean Evans and Charlie XCX in an Uber Eats commercial with Matthew McConaughey. That shit ruled. Gordon Ramsay got a Hexclad commercial, Super Bowl commercial for fucking Hexclad. Gordon Ramsay. Holy shit! Look, if you've been listening to the program for a while, Gordon Ramsay is like, talk about people I'd fall on a grenade for. Love Gordon Ramsay. The second the commercial ended, my grandma texted me, I bet you loved that Gordon Ramsay commercial. Not only did I love it, Maddie, my girlfriend, she's putting our son down for bed. And this Gordon Ramsay commercial comes on. And I'm like, holy shit, a Gordon Ramsay commercial! A Gordon Ramsay commercial! Now, for those of you who are not Gordon Ramsay heads like myself, Hexclad is the shit that he talks about constantly, and you cannot go 5 minutes talking, or rather not talking to him, but watching a video of his without him mentioning Hexclad. So which are just like, it's just cookware sets that are just like stick resistant. And to be honest with you, they actually look like they would be really, really nice. But it was just very par for the course that he got a Super Bowl ad. I guess this was not a consistent thing throughout everybody's viewing experience. We at home got a pro-Canada ad during the Super Bowl where it was like, Ontario is such a crucial trading partner with the United States, and Canada is your ally. They kept using the word ally every time they would mention Canada. Canada is your ally. An ally that you need if you're the United States is Canada. And I was like, really? A pro-Canada ad during the Super Bowl, one that Trump is attending under his administration. A pro-Canada ad. Canada really trying to make sure that they do not become a 51st state here in the U.S. Did you see that thing about Trudeau being caught on a hot mic being like, I don't know, Trump is really serious about this? Shut up. No, he's not. No, he's not. Well, I don't know that he's not, but nothing's going to fucking happen. What, are we going to send troops over the border? Canadians are going to fall to their knees. Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. Oh, sorry. Fucking, what are you guys going to do about it? Nah, I don't like that joke. I don't want to invade Canada. I think Canada has a right to self-determination. And I do believe that they should exist as a sovereign nation. I do not believe that the United States should use military intervention to overthrow the country of Canada. I do not think that that should happen. Now, Greenland on the other... No, I'm just kidding. Alrighty, folks, that's it. I recorded the second half of today's show earlier today, so it's going to be a hard departure. I was completely sober when we did the first half of the show, so tonally, I think the show is going to be a little bit different. Is there anything else that I want to mention before we get out of here? I think we talk a little bit about the Luka stuff again. Since I taped the part that you're about to listen to, there has been some more information that's come out. It sounds like the Anthony Davis injury is bad, or at least bad enough that we have no idea how long he's going to be out for. I think I may say something like, hey, we don't know, or like he shouldn't be out that long. It sounds like he might be out for a while. What else was in there? I don't know. I might put some text on screen to explain some stuff, but okay. Let's get to the second part of today's show. Alrighty, folks, the trade deadline in the NBA has come and gone, and we're still talking about it. We are still talking about it here on this program, breaking our 3-episode rule. At this point, it's been maybe the last 10. We just keep talking about the trade deadline leading up to it and the fallout from it. But today, I do want to focus on some of the fallout. Mainly, I didn't really clock in the previous episode the dudes who didn't get traded. I wasn't really focused on that. I was just kind of like, all right, let's assess all of the stuff that did happen and what we know happened. Well, the first thing that I think we need to mention is the fact that the Mark Williams trade, as of this taping, it got nixed in the middle of the night. Saturday night, a lot of us wake up to the news that Mark Williams not going to the Lakers. He failed his physical. And I gotta say, I feel pretty good about this. I think it stinks if you're a Hornets fan. There are a couple, I don't know how I want to attack this. So what we said in the previous episode was, am I crazy or is this like a bad deal? Because what you saw was a Charlotte Hornets team sell high on a Mark Williams player who had not played, I think at the time that he got traded, he had been in the league for 3 years now, and he's played 85 games. Not even 100 games in 3 sets. That's weird. That's weird. Got some back issues. That's weird. But the Hornets sold high because he's played games for the last 3 months and has played extremely well. So it just made sense that you have a Lakers team that's looking to add I don't want to call Mark Williams a championship caliber big, but in terms of who was available, it was slim pickings. So the Mark Williams thing made sense. And it also made sense why they gave up too much for him. They gave up Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, and was it a 2031 unprotected, and then a pick swap. That seems like a lot for a guy who just does not play games when you just traded away a big who does not play that many games. We will talk about the Anthony Davis debut in just a little bit. So come to find out, yeah, it didn't even happen. He failed his physical. So what happened here? Because the Lakers were like, it wasn't even his back. There was just a bunch of other shit that came up in his medicals that we were like, this is not going to work. We cannot do this. And so it got reversed. And then the Hornets brass puts out a press release that was like, we're so happy to have Mark Williams back. It was only because of the Lakers' aggressive pursuit that we even completed this trade in the first place, but we are very excited to have Mark Williams back on our team. They're fucking lying. I believe that they're excited to have him back, but I also believe that they are not the ones who were being aggressively pursued, and it was rather the other way around. Because again, if you're the Hornets, you're like, dude, we kind of have a get out of jail free card right now. We get Dalton Connect. We get to put him alongside LaMelo Ball. This makes complete sense. It doesn't happen. The Hornets kind of get screwed. The Lakers also get out of jail free card because they didn't have to give up all that shit for a guy who just wasn't going to play games for them. It was going to have, people were going to be all fucking surprised Pikachu.jpg when Mark Williams was just MIA in the playoffs. People, oh my God, if only they had Mark Williams. Who was it a couple years ago? It was not Mo Bamba. Who am I thinking of? The Lakers had a big that they were like, if only this guy could get on the court. It had to have been Mo Bamba, but I don't remember who else it could have been. It just would have been that. Again. And then if you're the Lakers, you're like, oh, shit, okay, so now we just have to rely on the buyout market. As of this taping, there has not been any indication what direction they might go at this point. The day that this episode releases on Monday is when Luka is expected to make his debut, which is really too bad because it's at 9:30 local time. No, not going to watch that game. It would have been so perfect if he had played that Pacers game on Saturday because it was in the middle of the afternoon. Everybody could have locked in and watched it. Nothing else is on anyway, so we might as well watch this. Well, we didn't get to watch that. Okay, so maybe he'll play against the who are they even playing on Monday? I don't off the top of my head know who it is. I'll probably watch a quarter of that and then have to go to sleep. So that's really too bad. We're so happy that we have Mark Williams back. I'm sure that you are, but that to me just was like you're putting a positive spin on something that, you know what I mean? You get where I'm going with this? We all knew what it was. So that's too bad for the Hornets. But also, you just get to re-roll this into the summer. Maybe you can facilitate some. Although, if his medicals are that bad, I don't know if you're going to be able to. You certainly won't get as much. But if you're the Lakers, you get Dalton Connect back. Oh, okay. Sure. You get Cam Reddish back. In the last episode, who did we call him? We called him modern-day Josh Jackson. Yeah. I believe that is apt. There's an apt comparison. We also got a lot of emails in the last couple of days following the Jimmy Butler to Golden State trade. Like a shocking number of emails. I can't believe how many of you guys are hive-minded in this way. People don't like that he's wearing number 10. People think that it looks stupid. Minus 1,000 aura points is what one of you guys said. I could not disagree more with that. Jimmy Butler wearing number 10 for the Golden State Warriors. I think it looks awesome. I think that's like the coolest, most random. I love when players who are tied to a number, they are always the same number. When you think of this player, you think of their number, and they just switch it up. I think it's awesome. I also think, I don't know if it's like a font with the jerseys. I don't know if it's a colors thing. I don't know what it is, but I think Jimmy wearing 10 looks awesome. Because to me, it's almost like when KD went to Brooklyn and wore number 7. That was like the cool, and part of me hopes that he never does that again, just so that it was like an isolated, I was 7 when I was here, but everywhere else I was 35. It was a very specific and unique chapter of Kevin Durant's story, and it also just looked awesome in the uniforms. And I think Kevin Durant wearing, KD wearing 7 in the Basquiat's, those alternates that the Nets were wearing, it just looked really, really cool. And I think for the rest of our lives will be one of those jerseys that's like, not this, but like you go to a fucking frat house or whatever, a Halloween party on a college campus, and you'll see a dude wearing a purple Vince Carter Raptors jersey. I think a Basquiat number 7 KD jersey will be timeless. I think people will be wearing that one for a long time. I don't know if that's the case with Jimmy Butler's number 10 with Golden State, but the principle of a player just completely shaking it up and just like wearing a random number, I'm sure there's a reason why he's wearing it. I don't know what it is, but I think it's cool. I like it. He actually had his debut here in Chicago, played really well. Steph was excited. I got a text from Jacob, a.k.a. Rusty Buckets. Apparently, Modest Buzelis playing well this season. Don't care. Just one of those guys that, if you're watching today's episode, I'm just realizing this as it's happening. My chair is getting lower and lower as I'm talking. if you're not able to watch today, then the optics of this will not be funny at all. Maybe go over to the YouTube, maybe listen to this on Spotify or watch this on Spotify so you can see it. Let me very quickly readjust my chair. I had to derail myself to point that out because the optics of it are very, very funny. Yeah, Jimmy Butler, Golden State Warrior. Got that nice extension. We didn't talk about this at all because who fucking cares? It doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't want to expand upon this further, what happened in his debut. I just like that he's wearing number 10, and I think it looks really cool. We also saw Anthony Davis make his debut for the Dallas Mavericks, and goddamn, did Mavericks fans get the whole Anthony Davis experience, the whole thing in one game, in 30 minutes of on-the-court minutes. We went from the first 4 minutes, Anthony Davis going thermonuclear on the Rockets, and then, by halftime, by the time he's logged 30 minutes, Anthony Davis is at like 30 points, 17 rebounds, 100 blocks. He's knocked down a 3. I'm here. It was cool. Optically, all of it was really, really cool to see that Mavs fans also were not booing him, which they shouldn't have. I don't think anybody expected that Anthony Davis was going to get booed or that Max Christie was going to get booed because this isn't their fault. You know what I mean? But he was awesome, and then he went down with a non-contact injury. I still haven't seen any. Was it his abdominal injury that he was dealing with? Because it looked like he grabbed his nuts, but I didn't think that's what it was not. Again, it was non-contact, so I don't know what it was. After the game, he was like, yeah, I tweaked it, but I'm fine. It'll be, you know what I mean? It'll be fine. Whatever it was. It was just funny to see him play like a top 10 player on the planet. And then before the game ends, he's out for the rest of the game with a non-contact. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then also Max Christie had an awesome game. Hit a 3 at the end that I think ended up sealing it. So good for him. Cool for both of them to have that explosion in their debuts. Before the game, we saw protests outside of the arena. We saw some static billboards being like all out. It said, what does the billboard say? It was like DallasOut.com or something. But the ALL in Dallas was like a different, the color of the font was different than the D and the S. So it just looked like it said all out. And then like hashtag fire Nico Harrison. Nice. We saw some moving billboards, some shit attached to some cars. Saw a lot of people with signs, a lot of JFK jokes being thrown around. They're all lazy though. I haven't seen a JFK joke about this whole thing. Oh, JFK was treated better in Dallas than Luka Doncic. Ha ha. I just haven't seen one that wasn't lazy and that wasn't a complete layup. Maybe I could manufacture one and get back to you guys on that one that maybe isn't so lazy, one that is well crafted and well researched as somebody who is the self-proclaimed curator of Zapruder film viewing experiences. I know all of them. You need a 4K link? I got you. You need a VR link? I got you. You need an AR link? I got you. You need just the original? I got you. I don't know how to say this. I think there needs to be more, though. Not Zapruder films. I'm not saying there needs to be more Zapruder films. The protests were good. They were awesome. I just don't think it's enough. And I don't know what I mean by that without explicitly saying that there needs to be violence, because that was another piece of this leading up to the game. ESPN reporting, Nico Harrison is getting death threats and this needs to stop. And hey, this is just a game and blah, blah, blah. The Dallas Police Department comes out and they're like, there are no credible threats to Nico Harrison's life right now. Like, he's fine. Nothing's going to happen. We'll throw some extra security out there at the games to make sure that people, don't get too riled up and don't get too out of hand, which maybe they should. But other than that, this is what the fuck. This is fine. Nothing's happening to Nico Harrison. He's fine. We also saw ownership make their first comments since the trade happened. And this is from Patrick Dumont. Quote, in my mind, and this is a long quote, it is very wordy, but I think it is important. Quote, in my mind, the way teams win is by focus, by having the right character, by having the right culture, and having the right dedication to work as hard as possible to create a championship winning outcome. And if you're not doing that, you're going to lose. If you look at the greats in the league, the people you and I grew up with, Jordan, Bird, Kobe, Shaq, they worked really hard every day with a singular focus to win. And if you don't have that, it doesn't work. And if you don't have that, you shouldn't be part of the Dallas Mavericks. End quote. Holy shit. This is egregious. Throwing in Shaq in that whole thing, first of all, you need to have a work ethic like Shaq. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did Kobe Bryant very famously not say, did Kobe Bryant not very famously say, if Shaq wasn't a fat, lazy fuck, he would have 15 championships? And isn't that also part of the reason why they broke up in the first place in Los Angeles? Was because they were just two different people. Their personalities, their work ethic, they played really well on the court. They win 3 championships, and then they lose to the Detroit Pistons, by the way. And then they break up, and Shaq goes to Miami and then wins another championship. But the band broke up. Shaq just didn't want to work not hard, but he didn't want to work as hard as Kobe did. Sure, let's throw him in there, right? Let's talk about work ethic. Let's do that for a second. Remember when Luka didn't have legs last year in the NBA Finals? He still played the games. Still played in those games. Played pretty damn well in those games too. If you didn't have him hobbling around out there, you probably would not have gotten to the finals in the first place. So it's like anytime Nico or now ownership wants to speak, they're just making it profoundly worse for themselves. And man, we said this a week ago in the first episode that we did post a Luka trade, that I was waiting for people to start spinning this, and that I was waiting for people to start being like, well, actually, no, we're not going to actually this trade. It's happening. It's not just online, on social media. It's here on this channel. I'm getting emails. Some comments are trickling in. Well, actually, it makes sense it doesn't. Don't let this happen. Don't let this happen. Anybody who tries, this isn't a matter of people can't have different opinions? Not on this. Respectfully, no, they can't on this because it's wrong and it's fucked up. So I don't want to be the guy who's if you see somebody being oh, I actually kind of like this for Dallas, tarred and feathered, hung and shot in the public square. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm still upset about it. Maybe some of you out there are getting some fatigue from so many people continuing to talk about this, but this is the biggest story of the decade up to this point. And so another thing we said a week ago was the takes on this thing will not dry up for years. There will just continue to be more angles on this and more information that comes out. More people come out to speak. Case in point, it's not just ownership now. We finally got to hear some public comments from Mark Cuban on this whole thing. He was doing, I don't know what the fuck these Silicon Valley lizards were doing, but Bill Gates was maybe doing a book launch or something, maybe is what it looked like. I don't know if it was a tech conference. I don't know what it was, but Bill Gates and Mark Cuban are sitting up on a stage with a live audience. And Mark Cuban is hey, Bill Gates, I got a question. He's what if when you sold Microsoft, or rather when you exited Microsoft, what would you do if Steve Ballmer traded Windows 11 for Windows 10? And everybody starts, going berserk. It was a funny moment. I thought the analogy it's not a good analogy. It's very funny though, because the reason it's not a good analogy, that did happen. First of all, most people prefer Windows 10 to Windows 11. Second of all, Steve Ballmer was Windows 11 is stupid as fuck, and we're going to do Windows Vista. You know what I mean? So it's not that great of an analogy, but the principle of it was funny enough that you could see Mark Cuban still very clearly upset about what happened. And even if the reason that he sold the team, his majority stake in the team in the first place, was because, by his own admission, his heart just wasn't in it the same as it had been for the previous, 20 some odd years. He was going to fewer games and this, that, and the third. And so, but that doesn't mean that it's not still his baby, and that drafting a guy like, well, they didn't draft Luka, but trading for Luka on draft night was probably his second proudest moment as an owner, behind actually winning a championship in 2010, 2011, 2010. It just frustrates me and I hate that I sound like this. I hate that I'm the guy who's like, you can't have this opinion. I don't think you can, because if you do believe that this is going to work for Dallas, I'm just like, I don't know how to say this without being disrespectful. Did you start watching basketball 3 years ago? Like, were you not watching when Luka got in the league and you kind of picked it up? I don't know. Did you start watching in the bubble when the Lakers won a championship? There's no other way to explain this. You cannot have been watching basketball your whole life and believe that this was the right thing to do. This isn't even me creating a straw man. I'm watching it happen. I don't know if people are like botting comments. There's an angle. There it is. Boom. From the crow's nest. I fucking got it. If I'm in the position of Nico Harrison or like a Dumont type character, I am botting the fuck out of the internet. That's what I'm doing. I'm contacting whatever fucking Russia data center I need to. Whoever interfered in the 2016 presidential election, I'm contacting them and I'm saying, I need you to infiltrate social media, these digital spaces, and I need you to just peddle our shit. Luka was fat. It was never going to work. With this new CBA, someone had to get traded. It had to be the guy who was about to make $350 million. It had to be that guy. I'm pushing all of my shit with bots. That's what I'm doing. And then I'm going to psychologically condition the American public into believing that this was the right thing to do, and but then you're also banking on the whole thing not working for the Lakers, which for all intents and purposes, it probably will. One of you pointed this out. I don't know who said this, but it is interesting. Is this the first time that LeBron has ever had a teammate that's better than him? Is Luka better than LeBron right now? As I said that out loud, I don't even want to have this conversation. I don't care. I'm just kind of excited to see them play together. I'm excited that they're teammates. But he's gone, folks. But he's gone. And it's like, you can tell me, you can try to do, it's just a game. It's blah, 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 blah. So which is it? Is it what makes NBA fans so special is that they treat it like it's more than a game, and it is their entire identity, and the passion is there, and that's what but is it that, or is it, hey, it's just a game and you shouldn't try to kill Nico Harrison because he did this? It can't be both, because it cannot be both. And right now, I think a lot of us are leaning towards the latter. Dallas fans very much especially with how the Cowboys have been playing for the last 30 fucking years, have adopted the Mavericks as like it's you guys. You know what I mean? Let's make our identity basketball. I don't want to speak on behalf of Mavericks fans because I will never go to Texas in my entire fucking life. But that's at least the vibe that I've gotten. And when you create this generational trauma, people who will never root for the Mavericks again and who will potentially never watch the NBA again, yeah, people are going to have some choice words for you. And if you didn't expect that backlash, then you shouldn't have taken the job. We started this whole segment because I wanted to talk about some players who didn't get traded. And then I completely, for the last 20 minutes, sidetracked myself, didn't talk about that. Let's circle back to that really quick. Let's talk about the players at the deadline who we were expecting to get moved and they didn't. And let's maybe try to dig into why they didn't get traded. I don't know why these guys didn't get traded. Vucevic didn't get dealt. If I had to, like, on a 1 to 10 scale, how sure was I that he was going to get traded? Only like a 4 or a 5. And a 5 is being generous. It's maybe like a low 4. I didn't think it was going to happen, but the word had certainly been out there, right? The real rug pull was the Lonzo stuff, honestly, if we're going to talk about the Bulls, because we went from the Bulls are asking for like a second round pick for Lonzo Ball. Pistons fans are like, holy shit, well, we got a couple of those. And with the wheeling and dealing that Trajan Langdon was doing, we had netted a couple of second-round picks. Just reroute those to Chicago. Go get Lonzo Ball. Nope, can't do that because he signed an extension. What was it, 2 years, $20 million? That's good value. That's a great team deal. I like that for both sides. What were we saying? We had hypothesized that his next contract was going to be like half of what he had gotten previously, which was it 4 for $80? Is that what it was? If that's what it was, and he just got 2 for $20, it's fractional, but it's close enough to half that, like, all right, but at $10 million for long, I like that deal for both sides. But it did stink as like a person who was expecting that he might end up on my basketball team. Although some Pistons fans were like, he's just a catch and shoot guy. We don't need that on our team. I don't know. I think, first of all, I don't think that that's true. The catch and shoot thing, that's all that he does. But the second piece of it is, who needs catch and shoot guys when like 30% of the reason that we're even as good as we are this year is because of Malik Beasley. Now, I don't know what percentage of his threes come exclusively off of the catch, but I would say that a guy like him, you get what I'm saying here? Which is another thing, a little sub take in here, a little bite-sized take. I love Cade Cunningham more than any player in the NBA. I think he's the best player in the world. Why the fuck is he in the three-point contest, though? I'm really excited to have a Piston in the three-point contest. But you know what I mean? Another thing, I was texting Jacob, a.k.a. Rusty Buckets. We agreed on this. If you're going to put a Piston in there, the first one since Rip Hamilton in 2007, I think only the 5th Piston to ever be in a three-point contest. Why was it not Malik Beasley, who's like 3rd in the NBA and made? That's weird. That's not. I just don't think that's Cade's like realm. I'm gonna root for him. I want him to win. I might put $5 on him to win, but I'm just like, it felt weird. Whatever. All right, cool. Vucevic didn't get dealt. Lonzo not only didn't get dealt, his ass got extended, so good for him. Case and Wallace did not get dealt, which I was manifesting, but I think that was just believed my own delusions. There's nothing more dangerous than a man who believes his own delusions, and that was me for the last couple of weeks, believing that Case and Wallace was going to be a Piston. That didn't happen. But another player that I think all of us were like, sealed and signed, she's not my lover like Billie Jean, but the kid is mine. He's going to get traded. What the fuck is Cam Johnson doing? Still being a Brooklyn Net. What's going on? Ben Simmons got bought out. That guy's a Clipper. Exit Kevin Porter Jr., enter Ben Simmons. Just like a different form of emotional terrorist. Although Kevin Porter Jr. is more of a physical one. Wasn't he like closed fist punching his significant other? Wife, girlfriend, I don't know what it was. That's like a domestic abuser. Not that we really, I guess as NBA fans, if we're being honest, like, I don't want to say we don't shun that, because we do. We don't condone it at all, but like, you can clearly have one charge and like people will still root for you. You know what I mean? Like, and if you think I'm out of line here, well, Miles Bridges he's back. Kevin Porter Jr., you know what I mean? People loved Kendrick Nunn. People had no idea was it Kendrick Nunn? I don't want to get this wrong. I'm pretty sure it was him who like dumped a pot of boiling water on his pregnant girlfriend. But then Heat fans and Laker fans were like, I fucking love this guy. I love me some Kendrick Nunn. People just don't care. Or you want to do the NFL, Tyreek Hill? How about that guy? People just choke the shit out of his girlfriend. Like, you can beat someone up. You can assault a woman physically. You cannot sexually assault them, though. That's where we draw the line, apparently, as sports leagues. Because Josh Christopher, I actually don't want to get that wrong. Not that one wrong. It was not Josh Christopher. It was Josh Primo. I like Josh Christopher. Josh Primo was like going around showing his penis to women out of the league. He's got to go. You cannot be in the NBA if you're showing your penis to women without their consent. If you lay hands on them, though, give it a year. We'll give you another contract, but like cut that shit out. Flashing guns on IG Live. Funny. Very, very funny. Bad look. Don't do it again. And then he does it again. Okay, but don't do it again. And then he does it again. I'm never going to get over it. I'm never going to get over how fucking funny that is. Don't do guns. No, you can do guns. You can do a little bit of guns. Gilbert Arenas was back in the NBA after he did guns. Was Javaris Crinton back in the NBA when he did guns? When he and Gilbert Arenas, when Javaris and Agent Zero did guns in the locker room, I know Gilbert's career lasted longer. Was that the end of his career? I don't remember the timeline on that, now that I'm saying it out loud. Other than the fact that Gilbert Arenas almost got shot in the locker room because over some bullshit, over some shit that like wasn't even real. All the other guys in the locker room thought that they were fucking around. I'm going to bring your shit tomorrow. I'll bring my shit. Okay, fine, I will. Fuck you. They come back the next day, and these motherfuckers are drawing guns in the locker room. What the fuck is happening? So you could do a little bit of guns. You can physically assault a woman. You cannot sexually assault anybody. No, you can. Because Deshaun Watson was quarterbacking because he just was making too much money. He had to. Am I going anywhere with this, or am I just kind of, the wheels just kind of spinning and we've been stationary the whole time? Somebody attach one of those. I need somebody in a Jeep to get one of those hooks and attach it to the grill of your car. Pull me out of this hole and we'll move on to something else. I guess maybe that something else could be the fact that I've been watching. It's like a live stream of a hawk. It's not a hawk. It's a bald eagle. There's a bald eagle's nest somewhere. I don't know where it is. Maybe Montana or something. And it's this big, big tree in this beautiful, and I'm going somewhere with this, in this beautiful landscape. And it's just in the wild. It's just a live stream of a bald eagle. And I had it on the TV the other day. I'm just watching this eagle sleeping in its nest. And all this wind's blowing around. My girlfriend comes in, what the fuck are you watching? I go, it's a live stream. It's an eagle. She's like, okay, but why are you watching it? I was like, I don't know, because there's a bird out there somewhere and we can watch it live and we can see what we do. Sometimes it has a bald eagle friend and it brings over some fish and they just do bald eagle shit and it's really cool. So my algorithm has been completely thrown by this thing and now I'm getting the weirdest shit in the world. But another thing that I was watching the other day that just really rubbed me the wrong way, and I didn't realize this was going to bother me as much as it has, but it certainly has. I got recommended a Mr. Beast video like an hour after it got uploaded. And he was like, oh, we rented out the pyramids in Egypt for an hour. I'm sorry, for 100 hours. We have unrestricted access with these tour guides and we get to see shit that nobody has seen, like 50 people have ever seen, and we get to go in places that you are not allowed to go, that it is illegal to go, but we get 100 hours to go around the pyramids in Egypt. And I was like, okay, like I have nothing else to do. I'll just put this on. If nothing else, it'll just serve as background noise. And it just ended up really rubbing me the wrong way because I watched a bunch of fuck-ass 20-year-olds bullshit their way around. I don't want to call like the pyramids of Egypt like a sacred place because of like how they were built and all this shit. But like for all intents and purposes, when you are one of the wonders of the world, I do think that there is a level of like, don't be a fucking YouTuber when you're in here. Like, don't do like, whoa, I don't know how to describe it. If you watch the video, maybe you'll pick up on it too. It just really, it felt like almost disrespectful to the spectacle of the pyramids. And then I was also pissed off because I was like, how much fucking money, first of all, do you have to be able to rent out the pyramids? I understand at this point that Mr. Beast has more money than God. But if I'm somebody who 8 months ago planned a trip to go to Egypt to see the pyramids, and then I get there and I find out they're closed for 100 hours? Was it fucking 4 days? 5 days? Like they're closed for the entire duration that we're here. We don't get to see them because this fucking asshole and his group of little private friends are doing their fucking YouTube video here. I'm throwing hands. What the fuck is that? That's the dumbest shit in the world. It's not uncommon that you see people like have a wedding at the pyramids or something like, and the money that would have to cost. I think you're an asshole. I think you're an asshole. I don't think this is like a hot take. I think most of you out there are going to agree with me. You should not be able to rent out the pyramids or any such adjacent feat of human achievement. That's bullshit. And Maddie and I were talking about this. She was reading a book one time. There was some Europeans back in the 1800s. I don't remember from where in Europe they were. So just very broadly, some Europeans went down to the pyramids because they were like, we need to find some mummies, because they believed that if these human remains could be preserved for, at the time, just over 4,000 years, then if we eat the mummies, then that preservation will be transferred over to us and we'll straight up live forever. Like it's like the game High on Life when the aliens are like smoking other aliens and like humans and shit like that. It's like that, but if you're eating a mummy, then it will extend your life or some shit like that. And so they go down to the pyramids and they're fucking around trying to find all of these little rooms and open up all these sarcophaguses and shit and like stealing mummies. They were just stealing mummies. Can you imagine 200 years ago how easy it would have been to sneak a mummy across international borders or waters? There's no customs. There's no TSA. There's none of that shit. You're just like, you just load it up on your horse and then you put it on the Mayflower and you go and then you just leave. Thanks for the mummy. I'm going to eat this shit. I'm going to smoke this finger. Thanks, Egypt. And they just fucked up the pyramids. Mr. Beast is talking about the whole thing is like and coming up next, you're going to want to stick around. He does such a good job, and this is not a good thing, but he does such a good job of creating FOMO, the fear of missing out. There's nobody, I don't think, better on YouTube at it than him right now, where he's like, if you leave right now, you're not going to see the coolest fucking thing you've ever seen in your life. Or when he's doing an advertisement for his little like kids' toys, I think they're almost like, there's those things that you put in water and then they grow, or maybe it's not that anymore. I don't know what it is. But he's got these little action figures and he's like, oh, season 1 of these little action figures is almost done. And once they're gone forever. You will never be able to get them ever again. And look, I understand this content is not being made for me. It's being made for fucking 10-year-olds. So when a 10-year-old hears, you will never be able to get this again, that makes them go to their fucking parents and they're like, Mom, we have to go to Target. We have to go to Walmart. We have to order these on Amazon because I don't want to miss out. That's fucked up because video game companies do that to people like me all the time. Like grown ass men like me all the time. Like I played Destiny 2. I don't play it anymore. The final shape happened. It's over to me. The game is dead to me. Bungie gave up on the game. I've heard good things about this most recent episode. I'm never going back to it. I have retired from Destiny. I played it for 10 fucking years. And that meant it was 10 years of Bungie being like, here's this thing. And if you don't spend money on it right now, you will never get it ever fucking again, ever. Do you know how many times they got me with that? All the time. Almost always is what I would say. So when I'm watching a guy who's like my age do that to little kids, it fucking bothers me. It really, really, really bothers me on a fundamental level. I think that's really shitty. And then the other piece of it is I've been watching Beast Games. And I say I've been watching it. I watched a couple episodes of it. The new little game show that Mr. Beast has on Prime Video, where it's like 1,000 people competing for $5 million, whatever it is. The tone of the show is fucked up. I don't understand what they were going for. Because is it compelling? Is it entertaining? Does it put people in bizarre situations where you have to make, like, it's almost an ethics thing? Yes. I think it does pose some interesting moral dilemmas. But when I say, like, tonally, I don't understand what they were trying to achieve. You have like a Mr. Beast and friends, right? Whoever the fuck the camera is on, if it's somebody who's part of the production. And they're like doing goofs and bits and shit like that. But then it'll immediately cut to somebody else who's bawling their eyes out because they just lost out on an opportunity to cash out on like $100,000, and which would have fed their family. They could have paid for their mom's fucking chemotherapy and shit like that. And you're like, and then it cuts back to Jimmy and he's like, this is crazy. Like, oh my God. And it's doing like jump cuts and shit like that. It's just, he's such an overstimulating mastermind where the average time that a Mr. Beast video stays on one shot is like 2.5 seconds. And then it's jump and then it's jump and then it's jump. He does not stick on one thing for more than 2.5 seconds. The editing that goes into that shit is insane. And this isn't just Beast Games, by the way. This is every piece of content that he does. And it's just the, did I just say overstimulating? That's what it is. And so you have that, you have the FOMO, you have just like the nothingness, the lack of substance. Because like every video at this point and I think the reason, by the way, that I'm so fired up about this is because I'm somebody who, Jimmy and I are the same age. So I say Jimmy. His name is Mr. Beast. I don't know him. Him and I are the same age. I remember Watching his videos when he was doing, as he likes to refer to them as, endurance challenges, he would upload a 48-hour-long video of him counting to 1,000,000, like shit like that, or reading every word in the dictionary. I remember that. And then I also very vividly remember when he started to make this pivot. And I don't know how to describe all of this without just sounding like a bitter bitch, where it's like, well, he's just successful. Yeah, but he's also like manipulative, and I don't know. I have long since said that I'm waiting for the day that like something comes out, because it will. I don't know when. Something's going to happen. I don't know what it'll be. But then it kind of did happen. People were like, oh, the working conditions and the conditions for the contestants on Beast Games and all this bullshit. And I'm like, no. Everyone's like, ooh, cancel Jimmy. No, I don't know. I don't think it's that. Not that. That's not what we were waiting for. Because, like, yeah, no shit. Like, people are overworked and potentially underpaid, and the conditions are sometimes subpar or questionable at best. That's not really what I was looking for. Oh, maybe it's all the shit about Chris, or they transitioned. Ava, I think is what they chose their name to be post-transition. How they were potentially a groomer and into some weird like child pornography, and that there's quote-unquote no way that Jimmy didn't know. But I don't know about that. That is, I guess, technically what maybe I was looking for. Is not looking for, but assuming would happen. Not also that, not assuming would happen. I'm just like, you're not this guy who will just pay for 5,000 people to get LASIK surgery. You're not somebody who will pay for the surgery. I don't believe it. There's got to be something. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it's like the power of somebody who... Is it somebody who amasses a fortune and then realizes that they have the ability to essentially play God to people, and that power dynamic and how valuable that can be? I don't know if it's that. I don't know what it is, but I just know that as the years go on, I am very disillusioned by YouTube content and what it used to be at its core versus what it has transitioned to now, which is overstimulating clickbait. And YouTube 15 years ago had clickbait. It had Rickrolls. It was just a different form of content. But I believe that it was more earnest, and that the people that you saw at the forefront were just, it was just different. And what sold 15 years ago is not what sells today, and vice versa. I may revisit this because I think I'm leaving a lot of stuff out, not specifically about Mr. Beast, but just like about content and how we consume it and what that relationship is, like what our relationship is as an audience is versus what it was. I'm not sure. Folks, that's going to do it for today's program. Super Bowl episode. Whoa! I'm taping this first part. I'm sorry, this second half of the episode before the Super Bowl even happens. Did the Chiefs win? Did it happen? Did the Chiefs win or did the Eagles win? How drunk was I in the first part of the episode? How many beers did I drink? Did I let you guys know? How many beers did I drink? Well, Spotify question. Spotify listeners. Man, what do I got for you guys today? No rideshare drivers. There was not a single one. Didn't get a single one. Not an email. Not a YouTube comment. Not a Spotify comment. Nothing. Swing and a miss on that one. I'll put a hand up. There were no rideshare drivers. I don't know. I might have to think of something different for Spotify because I just can't, or fucking write questions down ahead of time. Spotify, put a pin in it. I'm going to think of something different for you guys. I like the question thing, but we'll think of something different. Apple Podcasts. What's up? Apple Podcasts. What's up? If you are watching this on YouTube, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, nice little comment for the algorithm. Make sure to keep primary control in check. And I will catch you guys in the next one.
Beautiful, beautiful. Primary control. Beautiful. Primary control. Beautiful. Primary control.